assessing needs and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by. And it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net. Are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
Inland Empire, San Bernardino. Welcome to Working in the Margins. This is Shazad with Family Assistance Program, and this is our weekly radio show, which generates a podcast that'll download sometime when YouTube feels like it. On KCAAradio.com you can find us. Also on 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, right, Eric?
That is right, and you could also watch the live stream on KCAAradio.com.
Thank you. Yes. So welcome. Today's going to be fun. I am blessed to have guests here from Family Assistance Program, from our youth County Youth Advisory Board here. You're going to meet them in a little while. They're going to come and sit next to me, and we're going to talk about youth and what that looks like in San Bernardino County, what they need, what they want, what they need from us to help. Times are tough in a lot of places right now. I come to you every week and I tell you kind of the same things. I want you to think for yourselves. I want you to find news that you can trust, people that you can trust to deliver the news objectively, honestly, but objectively. I wanna talk a little bit about why we need more advocates. I talked about this last week on how to be a better advocate, how to advocate. I'm gonna fix this mic because I feel like I'm leaning down. Oh shoot, it's super tight. We'll fix it in a little bit. Some things have happened, things are happening, things are continuing to happen in our federal sphere of government influence that is not terribly productive. I think I'm being nice. It's kind of effed up what they're doing. They're hurting a lot of people. Some of these decisions are hurting a lot of folks. They're hurting our nonprofits here that are actually boots on the ground doing the work. We've had to cut services. A lot of agencies have had to cut services. A lot of agencies have had to let people go, unfortunately, because funding has been cut from a lot of programs that are that we use to help folks on the street, domestic violence, at-risk youth. And as sad as that is and as difficult as that can be, we can't let that stop us from doing the work. We can't. The work still has to get done. We can't leave folks stranded because our government doesn't care about them, because we still do, right? We still do. We still believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, even though they're trying to write it out of the history books. Those three words are, I guess, it's not just a sorry, it's not just a title. I have a cold, y'all, by the way. Just so if I sniffle or snort, forgive me. Um, DEI is not just a title. It's not just the name of a program or anything. Like DEI is a lifestyle. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking that the world cannot function equitably if we are not including people, if we are not diverse in our inclusion. Um, I really try hard not to use the word racism. I really try not to use that word because there are opponents on the other side that want to say, "Oh, you're going to pull the race card. You're going to pull this race card. This is all about, the race card." And I don't know what that means. I don't know what's a race card. If there was a race card that we could get or buy or something that would get us, you know, benefits or something, I'm going to sign up. I will sign up for it. But I don't know what that means, the race card. They make it sound negative. Like, oh, you're always going to bring up, it's racism. It's not. This is racism. Getting rid of DEI is racism because the folks that are trying to get rid of it think that it's affecting people of color. Because they're not educated on who it's really affecting. So, because they feel that way, we have to recognize the fact that they are discriminating or trying to discriminate. And we need to still advocate and fight for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I feel more so than we've ever have done before. Um, you got kids out here right now that don't even know what it means for for them not to be included because we've come such a long way with inclusion of LGBTQ, former foster, those folks on the margins. We've come so far. They don't know, and now they're experiencing for the first time in their like adult lives um, the discrimination. I heard something last week. I'm gonna share it with you, even though I've been battling whether or not I was, because I really don't want to do the doom and gloom stuff. But I'm gonna give you a scenario, and then I want you to think for yourselves if you were in this position, or if you know somebody in this position, how would you advise them? How would you talk to them? How would you comfort them? So I heard a scenario last week about um, a group of people that identify as non binary. I know a lot of people that identify as non binary because I know a lot of people and I will continue to know all kinds of people. That's what makes my life full. They are, and they applied for passports to be able. I guess in California you need to have some type of a smart ID or so. I don't know what's it called. Um, it's a ID so you could travel here in California.
Is it those real IDs?
Real ID.
Okay,
Thank you,
yeah.
Eric.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Real ID. Uh, and I think that's so funny because any ID I have better be real. Uh, so they applied instead because you can have a passport and then you don't need the real ID. So I guess they applied for passports and they were given passports. And previously you could select non-binary on the passport as your identification, as your ID. Well, I guess in January they said that you can't do that anymore. The government said no, it's only men and women, so you got to be one or the other. So what happened to those kids that applied for passports and got them under non-binary? Does that make their ID invalid? We're trying to find that out. We got lots of questions around that. And until I know all the answers around that and find some solutions around that, just imagine how that would make you feel as a human, that you're a part of you, your identity of non-binary is no longer accepted. The government is telling you you no longer exist. Think about that. It may not affect you, but it may affect folks that you know, folks that you work with. I watched on the news yesterday that the Supreme Court is determining whether or not so there was like a lawsuit because the federal government folks, President Musk, those folks over there are saying that the folks in the military, they're trying to fight from trans people in the military. And I have a good story about that. If I'm going to be if I was in the military, I would want a trans person in the military. I would want all the trans people in the military with me if I was in the military. You know why? Because they've been fighting for probably their entire lives. They know how to fight. They know how to step up and stand out. I would want them to help fight our battles. They know how to do it. They've been doing it their lives. So the Supreme Court, I guess there was a lawsuit, yada, yada. The Supreme Court is trying to decide, or they're being left to decide whether or not we're going to have trans people in the military, if they're going to allow trans people in the military. I wish folks would just leave some things alone. If trans want to go to the military and if you're in the military, you identify as trans, are you doing your job? Is the military happy with what you're doing? Are your commanding officers okay with what you're doing and you go to work every day and you punch the clock? What does that have to do with what you have to do? Trans, straight, gay, whatever. If you are doing the job, I would think that should be the priority. Unless you're going to tell me that all these trans folks that are in the military are all deficient and they're not doing their job, I do not think you can say that. I do not think you can say that. I have loved ones that are trans and they're in the military and they love it and they are committed and they're committed to this country. We don't have a king in this country, contrary to what he may think. He is not our king. So these executive orders, a lot of them are just silly and abusive and dumb. And we should fight against them as long as we can, and as hard as we can, because some of our very, very talented people are being marginalized for no reason at all, except that there's, a racist apartheid president, Musk, and his VP. I don't even know if he's a VP, Trump, but whatever. I don't know who they are. I don't know who's running this country. I don't know. But we should fight back against it as long as we can. We're going to go to break right now. And when I come back, I'm going to introduce you to my wonderful guest. And we're going to talk about the youth. And we're going to talk about some stuff going on here in San Bernardino County that we could help them with. And I'm going to share some resources with you about some things I really need your help with to raise some funds for some projects that we have coming up. So stay tuned, San Bernardino. I'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
What is your plan for your beneficiaries to manage your final expenses when you pass away? Life insurance, annuities, bank accounts, investment accounts, all require a death certificate, which takes 10 days based on the national average, which means no money is immediately available, and this causes stress and arguments. Simple solution, the beneficiary liquidity plan. Use money you already have. No need to come up with additional funds. The funds grow tax-deferred and pass tax-free to your named beneficiaries. The death benefit is paid out in 24 to 48 hours without a death certificate. You heard me right. Without a death certificate. Call us at 1-800-306-5086.
This program sponsored in part by Absolute Custom Painting. Custom painting you can trust. It's time to clean up and spiff up your home and add some curb appeal to your life. Absolute Custom Painting covers the whole Inland Empire with a brighter shade of color. No job is too small, and perfection is their goal. Absolute Custom Paint specializes in affordable residential paint makeovers. For a no-cost estimate and to dream a little, call 951-797-0508. That's 951-797-0508 for Absolute Custom Painting. Ask about their seasonal paint specials where you can save money. They're proud to make our world and communities more bright, colorful, and clean. Absolute Custom Painting with painters you can trust. Licensed, bonded, and insured. California Contractor Number 808931.
KCAA.
Welcome back, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. I have now with me at the table, the big table, I have my beautiful guest with me. And I am first going to introduce Eunice Abel. Eunice Abel she's one of our, she's a staffer at Family Assistance Program. Eunice was a former client. She's a success story, y'all, of what family assistance programs can do. And Eunice, I'm gonna have Eunice introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what she does for us at Family Assistance. But first, I want to give get it ready, Eric, because this is gonna be one of them moments. Eunice was selected as the Woman of the Year. Woman of the Year for Assemblymember James Ramos this year, recently. What an honor. A well-deserved honor. I love that. And we love James Ramos. He's a huge supporter of our programs. So what was that like when you got that call?
I was honestly really shocked. I couldn't believe it when it happened. I remember when Vanessa Variety, she's the chief of staff for Assemblymember James C. Ramos, gave me the call. And I initially got an email from her saying, please give me a call as soon as you can. But I was at an event. Mm-hmm. It was a retirement for Andre. You know Andre?
Oh, yeah, Bosse? Andre Bosse.
Yes.
Dre from Tay.
And it was at that event. So I was like, okay, I'll just call her afterwards. But she called me, and I was like, oh my God. So I stepped outside to answer the call because I'm like, this has to be serious. And then she broke the news to me, and I was so happy. I was so overjoyed. It was a surreal experience because, you know, when you're in this work is hard.
It is.
And you're doing everything that you can from my personal experience, but also the passion that I have to help the youth. And then you have the work that you've done be recognized.
I know. That's amazing.
It's something that, you know, you just can't really fathom.
You got folks that can go years and years and years doing this work and they don't get that kind of recognition. So when it happens, and you're a young woman, so that's amazing. Did you get to go to Sacramento? Did they take you to go to Sacramento? And
yeah. I spent the whole day with Assemblymember James C. Ramos
on the assembly floor and all that stuff. Isn't that fun?
It was amazing.
I used to work in the Senate, and I used to love those events when we would recognize community folks because that's who we work for. Those are our clients, our customers. So I used to love it, and they would always have a good time when they came. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now, though. Tell me what you're doing right now and who you're working with.
So I am the youth leadership coordinator for the San Bernardino County Youth Advisory Board. So family assistance programs, we kind of run the youth advisory board here for San Bernardino County. So I work with some of the wonderful youth that we have here today, Ayana Morales and Malena. So I work with the Youth Advisory Board. The Youth Advisory Board is a coalition of youth with lived experience in homelessness, and we advocate both on the county level but also on the state level as well to advocate and influence policies to help homeless youth. So not just here in San Bernardino County, but statewide as well. So we do a lot of things. We do a lot of advocacy. We do a lot of engagement in the community. We do summits. Well, we're really just.
I know you guys are everywhere.
We're here today. We're doing a radio show. So,
And now that you're doing this, you're gonna get a lot of calls.
yes.
Tell me about your seat on the county's COC board. That's a big deal. It's kind of been restructured in the county. What is your influence on that board? It's a lot of big heavy hitters on that board. What is your influence on that board? What do you hope to bring to that board?
So I currently sit on the interagency committee on homelessness for San Bernardino County, and so what I'm trying to do right now is kind of like turn the conversation towards homeless youth, because we're talking about solving the issue of homelessness, and we know with funding like the HAP funding where there's a 10% set aside for homeless youth. I think what my purpose is on the board is to make sure that the youth are being included in the conversation, and not just included but also prioritized, especially when it comes to funding opportunities, because we know that the issue of youth homelessness is not just the issue of social economic factors, but also an issue of visibility.
Yes.
So homeless youth don't get the visibility that we need for us to be able to access the resources that we need to really end the issue. So just being on there and making sure that people understand that there are homeless youth that exist in San Bernardino County. There are much more homeless youth that exist than they think.
And they know.
And so when we reallocate the funding that we have and we divert it towards our youth, we see the outcomes that we're trying to, we see the outcomes that we're really, really just trying to get, which is reducing the homeless population as a whole.
Right. Why is it so? Thank you for saying that, because folks don't understand sometimes that one of the solutions, the major solutions for homelessness, is to prevent it from the beginning. To prevent people from falling into homelessness from the start. And it's difficult sometimes when you have generational homelessness in a family. So the kids they only know what the parents did and how they survived. I've always held as a point of pride for family assistance that we work with the youth. We prioritize youth and we work with the youth to alleviate homelessness, to try to get it at the root. Ladies.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you doing on Yab? What you doing? What you talking about? What you want us to know? Tell me.
Well,
Introduce yourself. Say your name. What and who you know.
Well, my name is Ayana Morales. I am an advocate on the Youth Advisory Board. What my job is to basically scream in politicians' faces and tell them, hey,
I love that.
we're here. We need assistance. We need more bills to be passed in our favor. We need a bunch of stuff to prevent and solidify the youth future.
Tell me your top 5 things you want politicians to know. Top 5. I know there's 1,005, but I want your top 5. What do you want our electeds to know where to start helping our youth population?
Honestly, I think where we have to start is more housing, because there is an absolute terrible amount of youth that are still on the streets, and not only on the streets but on couches. And as we say, a couch is not a home.
It's not.
And another one that I think that they should know is We need more jobs.
Yes.
We need more jobs. We need more jobs that will not only prepare teenagers and the youth for their future, but they will make them confident in their responsibility.
Right. She gave me 2.
I'm Alina Enriquez. I am a Youth Advisory Board advocate as well as the TASE Subcommittee Chair. And I would say, to agree with Yana, the housing is a really big problem. I've personally experienced it. I'm currently experiencing it. And it's hard. It's really hard.
Tell me about your experience. As comfortable as you can. Tell me about your experience and why you want all these electeds out here to know that they need to help you and people like you. Just a little bit. Don't cry.
I would say has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, I live in a home, right? And in this shelter home, I unfortunately have to see people that I'm growing a bond with and having a relationship with and a connection with leave. And they get 6 months, they get a year, and I have to watch these people leave. And it's hard because sometimes, you know, you lose contact and you lose those connections, and you never know how they end up, or you would know exactly where they're going to end up, and there's nothing you can do to save them. There's nothing you can do to help. And that is so painful sometimes.
Wow. That is. I understand that too. It's we don't have enough programs, I think, you know, stabilizing programs. I don't think we have enough for youth stabilizing programs. I want everybody to go out there, you know, create a stabilizing program that's more than 6 months or 90 days or whatever. I want time. I want time. It takes more than that, 6 months or 90 days, in order to stabilize somebody that's coming from homelessness or from a, you know, from a domestic violence situation or, you know, former foster. Eunice, tell me how, because you're kind of like the advisor to this group. How are you teaching them to advocate?
So first thing, you have to expose the youth to the people that they need to advocate to. So first thing that we do is that we get them in rooms with legislators. We get them in rooms with who's your mayor. We educate them on the political process, right? Because a lot of times when you talk to youth, they're very frustrated with how slow things are going. They're very frustrated with.
I'm frustrated too.
Yes, yeah, they're frustrated with the way that, you know, these services are being, you know, rendered to them. And then you have to explain to them, well, this funding is attached to a grant, and the grant has requirements that are attached to this. We can't use money for this because the grant says we can't.
Exactly.
And so once you start educating them on the process, like not just the like political process, but the way that these grants work and the way that this funding work, they're more receptive to advocating not just for themselves but for other youth as well. So first thing that we do is we educate, and then we get them rooms in with people that can actually fix the problem. So the city council, the assembly members, the senator. So we just came back a couple of months ago from the Youth Empowerment Summit up in Sacramento, and we were advocating on behalf of homeless youth. I'll let Ayana in a little bit talk about some of the bills that they went over, but it's just getting the youth in that environment, letting them see who their legislators are, letting them talk to these legislators, because a lot of times these legislators, they want to hear it from the youth.
Absolutely.
Because the people who work with youth, they're passionate, you know, they're doing the best that they can with the resources that they have been given as well. But when you hear it from the youth, straight from the mouth of the person that are receiving the services, it's a different response.
It is.
So when we get these kids educated on the process, we get these kids educated on what is affecting them, what are the obstacles to the goals that you want to reach, and then we have them doing the advocacy, we get a different response.
Who's running for office? Which one of y'all?
Ayana,
you gonna run for office? You know what? You know why I asked that?
Why is that?
When I was in the Senate, we had a program called the Young Senators Program, and I worked with those kids. Me and the staff, we worked with those youth, And I would always tell them, because this was told to me when I was a younger advocate, the folks that you are advocating to, they're just like you. They're not necessarily smarter. They have taken on a sense of responsibility to work in their communities as a legislator, but they're not. They don't know as much as you know about what you know about. You know, you've put yourselves in positions to work with kids. Some of them are not. That's not their jam. You know, so I would always tell the kids, don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. You know, sometimes you are going to teach them way more than they ever knew about what you have, what you are passionate about. That could be anything. Water. I remember when I was in the Senate, there was folks that were passionate about sharks and dolphins, and they would come to the Capitol dressed in dolphin and shark costumes, that's great, you know. That's wonderful. And people will say, oh, they're crazy. They're so. No, because ask them about why it is important for our trees and bees to still be here in existence. It's a part of our ecosystem. Don't ever be intimidated by, ooh, somebody really trying to call me. That's okay. I'm gonna turn it off. I think I told somebody I was supposed to be somewhere and I'm not there. But I'll find out. It happens. I have a cold. I have a head cold. I want y'all to talk. I want to help you. I want to get y'all in front of people. I want us to advocate together. I want y'all to come to city council. What was it like for you when you went up there? Was that your first time?
Yes, it was. It was my first time talking to legislators.
What was that like?
Nerve-wracking. It was very, very nerve-wracking. I had a bunch of stuff written down and ready, and they didn't ask any of the questions that I had written down and ready.
Oh, yeah.
So that was fun.
What bills were you talking about up there?
Oh, it was a bunch of funding bills that we needed because they were trying to take away most of the funding for the youth homeless. And it was absolute, bad word.
Oh, no.
Right. So we ended up actually walking and protesting, and we had our own little banner and everything, and we were yelling and telling everybody what we were about and why we were there. I got to give my own little speech about the Sacramento trip, the Yes Empowerment Summit. I talked about how the workshops and they were very educational, and they taught me more about advocating, more about the not only how to convert your passion into advocating, but they taught me how to be confident in it.
Yes.
Not only just finding the passion, but actually believing behind in it as well.
Right. I'm so glad y'all had that experience. I'm glad that you were giving that experience, but I need y'all to keep going. I need you to keep doing it. We need you on the city levels. We need you at councils. We need you to, to kind of hit this region and let folks know, because we are fighting for so many things now just to stay the same or to try to keep up with what, as things are being stripped away. And sometimes focus can be taken off or diverted from where it needs to be. And that's, the youth. I had somebody say, well, you guys are always talking about these youth and jobs and all this stuff. They're paying $20 at fast food now. Okay, let me tell you something about that. $20 at fast food doesn't look like what you think it looks like. $20 at fast food is a 30-year-old, a 35-year-old marginalized community person that is taking a job in fast food because they need a flexibility. They don't want to. A lot of folks, us older folks, I know older folks my age that are working in fast food because they pay $20 an hour. Because that was the only thing going at the time. So to say that, oh, y'all can just walk out there and get a job because it's fast food, it doesn't look like that anymore.
No, it does not.
And I'm not necessarily wanting y'all in fast food. I kind of want you in this work.
I've actually been
Right?
thinking about it a lot. I think I might end up.
I want you in this work.
So, just to add to what you're saying, Shazette. So, $20 an hour. Okay? What is $20 an hour?
Not enough.
Exactly. Let's look at what the housing rates are right now. We're talking about youth that maybe just graduated college, right? Or maybe youth that are just entering into college. How much is the rent, right? So we're talking about rent that's anywhere from $1,200 if you're living with other people, all the way to $2,000 for one bedroom apartment. So you still can't afford to live on your own. So what is $20 an hour
Not
in this
enough.
economy?
It's
So
not enough.
When they cite numbers like that, you just have to look at them and say
I tell them that's not enough.
that's not enough. That doesn't.
$20 an hour. So I found an apartment for a client, $1,650 a month here in San Bernardino for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. $1,650. It's nice. It's okay, but she can't do it by herself. She can't do it by herself. And she makes over $20 an hour. And she can't, not much over, but she can't do it by herself. So now we have to find people to share it with. And we can.
And it's a one bedroom.
And it's a
One
1-bedroom.
bedroom.
So somebody
Bunk
gonna
beds
be
or
on
something.
in the living room, in a sleeper sofa. It breaks my heart. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back in a couple of minutes, we're gonna continue this conversation, and I'm gonna share some resources with you. Community, San Bernardino. Be right back.
This is KCAA.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
This important time-sensitive message is brought to you by this station's generous sponsor, George Litchfield Associates, who has important Medicare information for all current and future Medicare recipients about some big changes happening. Medicare Clarified. Medicare is a nonprofit consumer service organization.
It's more important than ever to review your Medicare plan for 2025 from October 15th through December 7th. To find out if you're in the right plan for you, people are calling 951-769-0005. 951-769-0005. A popular and local Medicare plan is improving. Others are raising copays and adding deductibles. Biggest changes in the Medicare drug program in 15 years.
We thank George Litchfield and Litchfield Insurance for their generous support of this radio station.
Plant Galaxy Dispensary reminds everyone during these challenging times the importance of mental health, with a focus on wellness and offering daily deals on everything from top quality flowers to edibles and so much more. Plant Galaxy's goal is to help you win the battle within. As one of Riverside's most beautiful wellness shops on Center Street, visit plantgalaxy.net. That's plantgalaxy.net or call 951-900-5011. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
KCAA.
Welcome back, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. This is Shazette. I am having a thrilling conversation with our representatives from our YAB. And I am super excited to bring them to you because these are the kids, these are the folks. I'm not going to call y'all kids because y'all adults. But this is the population that we should be really focusing on. I'm an old head, y'all. I got a plan for retirement. I do. I got a couple of pensions sitting someplace. I'm not gonna do this forever. My dream is to volunteer. I'm a volunteer. I'll volunteer. I'll probably even volunteer for family assistance. But I am not gonna be able to do this work probably in the next 10 years like I'm doing it now because it's a lot. It's a lot of good work and stuff. I need y'all to come on and take over and do this work. I really do. I need Eunice to take this show over eventually. I need y'all to advocate and keep, helping folks and keep doing this. This is why I bring folks on, because I feel like I'm interviewing our next generation of social service workers. You guys are way smarter than me because you're already working on what you want to do in this field at a much younger age than I started. I was already 30 before I got started doing social service work, working for the union. And we need Eunice you going to school to be an attorney still? What kind of law you gonna practice? You still gonna do that?
Yeah, I just graduated actually a couple of weeks ago.
From Cal State, from UC Riverside?
Yes.
Well, there you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Eunice. Congratulations, college graduate with a degree.
Yes.
What's it in?
Public policy.
Public? Okay, you go. When I said who's running for office, she kept kind of quiet. Public policy.
Yes, I felt like that would be a great foundation for the type of law that I'm trying to practice. But, in the meantime, influence on policy and just working with legislators and actually understanding the way that the system works, I felt like a degree in public policy would definitely help.
Best degree for public policy is legislation. I stopped calling it politics because we don't play politics. We legislate for the needs of the community. I'm so proud of you, young lady.
Thank you.
So, law. You want to practice law? You want to go to law school?
Yes. So right now with everything that's going on, with the president that we have in office.
Yeah, whoever that is, because we don't exactly know.
It seems like the rule of law is under attack, obviously. So just going into constitutional law, strengthening the constitutional law, making sure that it's, protected against attacks from possible tyrants who have been elected. So just making sure that I go into practice that's actually going to help, not build on the foundation that I have with the nonprofit sector already, and just like focusing on my passion, which is helping marginalized youth and people of color as well. So going into a practice within law that's going to help marginalized community and help strengthen the rights that we have, and just making sure that the people who are always left out of that conversation is protected.
Oh, we need you. And let me tell you, constitutional law, I think is really, really important now that we do what we can to protect our Constitution. Because folks are trying to rewrite it and take stuff out and add stuff in and do, so I commend you on that. I was with another friend, another young person, and they graduated, or they're graduating, and they're going to go into law. And I said, well, what kind of law are you going to practice? I always want to know, because I'm like, how's it going to benefit our community? And he said immigration law. And I was like, yes, that's what we need. We need, because they're doing things to our immigrants, our undocumented populations that are just scary. They're scary. I have friends that are undocumented, of course, and I worry about them. And they've been here for a long time, and they've been living and raising their families and paying taxes and going to school, and I'm worried. I have a Home Depot that I go to in Pomona. I live in Chino, and it's the closest to my house. It's like 5 minutes. And I saw in the news that they were rounding up some of the immigrant workers over there, the day laborers over there. And that was frightening to me. Frightening to me. So we need folks in this battle. We need folks in this fight. What you going to school for over here? What y'all doing? Y'all going to school?
I'm going to school for criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
All right.
Amen. Amen. What you want to do with that?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about maybe getting my degree and working with my mom at the San Bernardino Courthouse of Justice.
Okay. Okay. We need advocates in those areas. You know, what you doing?
Well, I just recently enrolled into vet tech school.
Oh.
So I'm going to be studying to be a vet tech. That was actually my mom's idea. She was telling me, she's like, you always like the animals. You're not scared to get hurt, you know? So, I mean, and she's not wrong. I'm not scared, I'm not scared to get hurt. So, I mean,
What's your favorite cats or dogs?
Cats.
Really?
I love cats.
You like cats?
I love cats. My sister, she has a cat named Mango, and he's a funny little thing.
I'm a dog person. I have 2 little rugrats.
Me too.
2 little pups that, I love that for you. I really do. I want you to do that. I want you to do that.
Yeah, I'm
And then I
excited.
want you to advocate for shelters to provide for pet services for their clients.
Well, I currently volunteer at the Upland Animal Shelter that's near me.
Oh, good. Okay.
So there's an animal shelter near my.
And it's beautiful. It's on the other side of the park.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's such a nice
beautiful-
place, and I'll go in there sometimes just to go visit the animals.
Great training ground.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. When y'all see her, say hey. If y'all over at the at the shelter in Upland, it's a really nice shelter. The Friends of the Shelter, I think they do fundraisers and stuff regularly. I love that for y'all. There's so many, family assistance. That's one of our things. We really advocate for the clients if they have pets, that we make allowances for them to have their pets with them because
Emotional support.
Emotional
Yeah.
support. We don't necessarily need. I know people are like, you gotta have documentation and all that stuff, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't have documentation, but my dogs know everything. They know everything. They know everything. When I go home and they know I haven't felt well in a couple of days, they will get on the bed and they will just, and they make me feel better. So imagine if you're fleeing DV and you with your kids and you had pets, or you had human trafficking or something, and you have a pet, being separated, or being given the choice, you can come into housing,
Or you can stay on the streets.
or you can stay on the streets with your pet.
Yeah, the home one of the homes from the program that I'm in, they allowed someone to have their dog because they're like, well, they've had the dog for so many years. But when somebody else in a different home was like, I was just like, I've had this dog for 2 years, like this is my emotional support animal, they were like, absolutely not. And I think that for a lot of the times it has to be, if you're doing it for one, you got to do it for all, or do it for no one.
all. Right, right.
Because all it does is create a lot of resentment, and it's just so.
And it's trauma. It's,
Yeah.
you're already triggered because you're having to, maybe go into shelter or anything like that. And then you have, and then we want to take your pet away, And I know from doing homeless street outreach and all that for a very, very long time that most of the time those dogs are for protection. You have a lot of unaccompanied women out on these streets, and those dogs are for protection,
Yeah.
And you have a different type of attachment to a pet that is also your protector. So it's important that we advocate that these programs allow for that, for a pet to come through. We only have a few more minutes. I want to thank you, ladies. You guys are awesome. I'm very proud of you as an old head, because you are coming out here and you're doing this work, and it's not easy. It's not easy work. It's hard work. You're going to hear stuff that'll break your heart, and then you feel like I got to do something about that. And that's where, the struggle comes in is, this right now, whoever's in charge and the government is making it real hard for us to keep up and trying to take care of the people that we want to take care of. You know, we want to take care of them. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do in this community. Your community appreciates you. Eunice, keep going, keep going, keep going. Take over. Keep going. Don't let them, don't let them deter you because, you're young people. Because y'all going to take over. Y'all the wave of the future. Yeah. All right, community, San Bernardino, thank you so much for having us in your radio ears and on your YouTube TVs or whatever. I have some resources, but again, I'm going to tell you, as I do week after week, check out my hashtag Working in the Margins with Z. I'm on all socials. I keep adding them because the world keeps adding them. Blue Sky, I don't know, some other stuff. But I link to resources in my through that hashtag on my Facebooks and things like that. I do want to, there's something, hold on, let me see. I want to bring this up. There's an event that we participate in at Family Assistance regularly, and it's called Denim Day. I think everybody knows about Denim Day, where you it's to honor and the folks that are experiencing sexual violence. I think it's sexual violence. Yeah. So you wear denim, and I believe it's on the 29th of this month or the 30th. It'll be on my hashtag, Working in the March. It's April 30th, Wednesday, April 30th. So wear some jeans and take some pictures and post that you support victims of sexual violence and observing Denim Day. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate you. Last thing. And it's sitting right here in front of my face. Okay, last thing, Eric, and then I'm off. Teamsters has a Pride meeting. I am so excited about this because we support LGBTQ. So it's Pride, it's Teamsters Local 1932. That's where we are. This is Teamsters Local 1932. We are on 4th and Sierra. And it's a monthly LGBTQIA plus committee meetings. And it's held on the third Friday of every month at 6 p.m. here at this facility. They're taking away stuff from us to be able to support these communities. So we need to band together to keep the support here locally for our LGBTQIAs. Don't be daunted, community. Don't be daunted. Keep up the good work. Keep advocating. If there's something you don't know about advocating and want to know, hit me up at Working in the Margins with Z. Go Kings. Y'all know I'm a hockey head. Go Kings. We took 2 games at home against Edmonton. I'm super excited. Go Ontario Reign. Our first game is tonight at Crypto. It's for the Calder Cup. And yeah, thank you again. And I'll see you next week.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda.